Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we take a look at the events that took place in 2017 in Florida. When Savannah Gold left home to go to the restaurant where she worked, her mother Sherry had no idea that she wouldn't see her daughter again. About an hour later, Sherry got a call from the restaurant saying that Savannah hadn't shown up for work, and it was very strange. She had never missed her shift before. But the events that followed that call were even stranger. Imagine that someone you know very well and with whom you have been in touch for a long time, not only in real life but also through messengers, sends you a message that you find very strange. What will you do? Will you be able to realize that the person writing to you is not someone you know, but someone who is pretending to be him or her? When the father of 21-year-old Savannah Gold received the message with spelling mistakes and no punctuation, he immediately realized that it was not his daughter who wrote it. The message, written on Savannah's behalf, said that she had met a great guy she was in love with and had decided to elope with him. She also promised to call later. Savannah's father, Daniel Gold, focused his attention not only on the text itself, but on its content as well. The man knew well that running away with a boyfriend was not something his daughter would ever do. While Daniel was staring at his phone screen, trying to understand and explain to himself what he had just read, Savannah's older brother Chris had also received a strange text message in which his sister had written that she was leaving with her boyfriend and that she was fine. Daniel, sensing that something was wrong, immediately began calling his daughter's phone, but it was turned off. Savannah Paige Gold was born on April 26, 1996, in the family of Daniel and Sherry Gold. She lived with her parents and older brother Chris in Jacksonville, Florida. Among her many hobbies, Savannah loved playing lacrosse, drawing, and dancing. Everyone who was close to her believed that Savannah was quite consistent with her last name. She was a loving, kind, and caring girl, ready to lend a helping hand to anyone. After graduating from high school, she turned down a scholarship and a college for art and design because she was taking care of her mother, who had been diagnosed with cancer. Sherry was undergoing chemotherapy, so her daughter took over the household chores to help her in any way she could. Savannah also took a job at a restaurant called Bonefish Grill as a waiter. The summer of 2017 marked the 2-year anniversary of her working at this establishment. On August 2nd, at approximately 5 p.m., Savannah left the house and drove her car to the restaurant. Her shift was scheduled to start at 5:30 p.m. that day, and she put on her uniform upon leaving the house. But less than an hour later, Sherry received a call from the restaurant asking if she knew why Savannah hadn't shown up for work. The woman was very surprised, as she knew her daughter was a responsible person, and she had seen Savannah leave the house wearing her uniform, which meant she had definitely gone to work. Shortly after that call, Savannah's father and brother received strange messages. Immediately suspecting that someone else had written them and that someone was trying to impersonate Savannah, Savannah's father went to the police. Before that, he tried to call his daughter, but all his attempts were unsuccessful. Savannah was reported missing, and the police immediately began searching for her. Since sending messages to her father and brother, she has not turned on her phone or logged onto social media. The first thing officers did was go to the establishment where she worked. Officers found Savannah's open car in the parking lot, about 120 yards from the restaurant's entrance. Her documents, a wallet with cards and cash, as well as some other valuable things, were inside. It was obvious to the police the story of her running away with her lover was merely fiction. If Savannah was planning to disappear, she could have left her documents and her bank cards so she couldn't be tracked down, but she certainly wouldn't have left cash in the car. At first glance, there were no signs of a struggle or crime inside or near the car, but officers noticed that the left front tire was flat. Forensic experts were called to the scene, and detectives went to the restaurant to talk to Savannah's co-workers. They all claimed that she hadn't been to work that day and that no one had seen her. The fact that the missing girl's car was parked 120 yards from the restaurant led detectives to believe that something might have happened to Savannah after she arrived at work. The cops started going around the establishments in the area, specifically those with surveillance cameras, and watching the footage, hoping to see the moment Savannah parked her car. The spot where her car was parked was captured by only one camera, and the image quality was not the best, but nevertheless, the police were able to see that after Savannah parked, she got out of the car and walked to a nearby vehicle. It was a silver Chevrolet Malibu sedan. For 14 minutes, she stood next to the driver's door and talked to whoever was behind the wheel. She then opened the back door and got in, after which the driver got out and also got in the back seat. For several minutes, officers watched the footage as the car was shaking and the back door swung open 3 times, but was immediately closed. Officers had reason to believe that a fight had broken out inside the car between Savannah and the owner of the Chevrolet. A few minutes later, the man exited the car, approached Savannah's vehicle, opened the driver's door, and took something from the interior. He then punctured the front left tire, got into his vehicle, and drove away. The young woman never got out of his vehicle. Identifying the owner of the Chevrolet Malibu went quickly. Lee Rodart, one of the managers and chefs of the restaurant where Savannah worked, was driving this very car. He was 28 years old and helped hang informational flyers with a picture of Savannah. When police interviewed restaurant employees, Lee said he hadn't seen Savannah in about 3 weeks because they worked different shifts. Then detectives spoke to restaurant employees again and learned that Savannah and Lee had more than just a work-related relationship. Several people reported that they met after hours and that they had an intimate relationship, something Lee himself was silent about when speaking to the police. On August 5th, during his work shift, he was arrested and taken to the station for questioning. Rodart immediately warned the detectives that he could not read or write well, after which he was explained his rights in detail, namely that he had the right to an attorney and that anything he said could be used against him in a court of law. He admitted that when the police interviewed the restaurant staff, he lied when he said he hadn't seen Savannah in a long time. In fact, he had seen her on the day she went missing, but he was afraid that he would be suspected of being involved in her disappearance, so that's why he wasn't telling the truth. When asked how long he had known Savannah, Lee said he had known her since she had gotten a job at the restaurant, which was about 2 years ago. But their meetings outside of work started about 8 months ago, and at the time he had another girlfriend named Chelsea. When Chelsea found out about his infidelity, she broke off the relationship with him. According to Rodart, he dated Savannah for about 3 months, but then she started using illegal substances, and that was the reason he ended his relationship with her and started dating Chelsea again. He and Savannah allegedly agreed that from now on, they would only be connected through work. The company that owned the restaurant prohibited its employees from having romantic relationships with each other, and according to Rodart, he learned that Savannah had told other waiters about their intimate relationship and wanted to get him fired.
And then when was the last time you saw her?
This is what I didn't tell you the truth when we talked at Bonefish.
Okay.
Last time I saw her was Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
I heard that she has been basically telling a lot of people at work that we hooked up a bunch, like a couple days before that, and that she was going to like tell about the whole situation and, you know, try to get me fired. And
why
like
would that get you fired?
I'm a manager and she's an employee. So.
He told detectives that he drove to the mall on August 2nd to talk to Savannah and try to convince her not to spread the rumors. He feared being fired from the restaurant, where he had worked for 5 years. According to Rodart, Savannah said she had just consumed a strong substance and it was causing her to panic, so she asked permission to sit in his car for a little while. When she got in, he demanded that she stop telling everyone that they were still dating. Savannah asked him to sit in the back seat too, so they could talk. After moving back inside, he again began asking Savannah to stop spreading rumors about their relationship, but she replied that she would do what she felt like doing. This response angered Lee, and then, according to him, he went out and slashed a tire on Savannah's car and returned. She asked him why he had done it. He replied that he was upset and angry. Next, as Rodart alleged, Savannah got out of his vehicle and walked toward the entrance to the mall, but did not reach it and got into an old green Ford pickup truck with tinted windows.
And at that point, she had her phone in her hand. She got out of the car and walked towards the main entrance from San Jose.
San Jose is the name of the shopping center where the restaurant is located.
Okay. Yeah, but it's closer towards 295?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say she was walking along the edge of the plaza, but she was walking maybe towards this way. And I would say an older model Ford pickup, green, drove past me and around, and she got in.
Okay.
But the detectives knew that Savannah did not get out of Rodart's car and that he was lying. He had no idea at the time that the police had surveillance tape in their possession showing that there was no Ford pickup truck and that Savannah did not get out of his car. When asked what happened next, Lee said he drove home and even described the streets he drove through. The man had scratches on his arms and neck, and when asked to describe where, when, and under what circumstances they were received, he said that he had hurt himself at work.
Okay. What happened to your neck?
That was self-inflicted, actually.
Why?
I just have been having kind of a hard time.
To your neck?
I couldn't. Yeah, I did. And
What did you use?
a knife.
When did you do that?
Some time in July.
You did that in July and it's still
Yeah.
bloody?
Well, I kind of peel the scab here and there at work, hitting it on stuff like that. I peeled it last night working, and it was coming off a little bit today, so I peeled that a little bit.
All right, let me see.
But this was the same night. This one was just a lot worse
Yeah.
than this one was.
Okay. And that was in July?
Yeah.
Okay. Like a few weeks back?
Yeah.
Okay.
When asked directly where Savannah could be found, Rodart replied that he did not know.
So where's Savannah right now?
I don't know.
Where would I find her?
I don't know.
That's my prime objective is to find her.
Definitely.
I think time's running out on her.
The detectives began to change their interrogation tactics. If at first they listened calmly, showing interest in all his stories, now they began to put a little pressure on him. They told him bluntly that there was evidence to show that Savannah had not gotten out of his car, as he claimed. After a short while, Rodart changed his statement and said that he and Savannah went to his house, but then she left. The detectives did not believe him. They asked him to take pity on Savannah's family and tell the truth in its entirety.
I understand.
I'm just laying out facts here. I want to find this girl. I need to find her.
I understand.
And here's a couple reasons I need to find her. One is I'm hoping that she's still alive. And that's really, I really do, I'm holding out for that. And if she's not alive, then I think she and her family are due that knowledge. I think I think they need some closure. Because I think the reality is if somebody's dead somewhere, a parent would want to know. I think do you have kids?
No.
Okay, so one day when you have kids, the uncertainty is whatever kind of a person she is. And I'm not about to say what kind of a person she is, because I'm not making any judgments. I'm saying that this human being is, if she's alive, then I want to find her. I need to make sure she's okay, because several days now she hasn't been around. Things happen to the human body, and people can't stand a lot of things that can transpire.
It's not true, because we have proof. We have proof. And that's why we're sitting here, Lee. At this point, we need this for her. I mean, I look at that little girl and I think of my little girl. My little girl who's her age. That's who I think about. That was my little girl. I couldn't imagine. I don't care what she said about you or whatever, but my little girl is that age.
Maybe.
And you're not telling the truth.
Maybe something gets out of hand in the car.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, you didn't do anything, but she was in your car. She never got out of your car. She never got out of your car. Lee?
We're not saying that you did anything. I'm trying to find her. I didn't say you did anything.
I don't know where she is.
Well, we can prove that you left with her in the car.
Eventually, Rodart couldn't take it anymore and confessed that he snapped Savannah's neck during the argument, detailing everything that happened in the back seat of his car.
Right here.
You thought you had her up here?
Yeah, I thought I had her like right here.
Yeah.
And
As he left the parking lot, he took Savannah's phone, sent messages to her father and brother, then threw it out the window. He brought the body back to his property and tried to dispose of it with fire, but it was not as easy as he thought it would be. So he dug a hole in the ground and buried it. But anticipating that the police would find out about his association with Savannah and perhaps come to his home, he dug up the body a day later, wrapped it in a blanket, and drove to a pond located about 8 miles from the restaurant. He knew the area well, as he had lived there for several years. When he arrived, he dumped the body in the water and headed home. 3 days after Savannah's parents contacted the police, a homicide detective came to their home and sadly informed them that their daughter was dead and that her body had been found. Lee Rodart was charged with second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a dead body. Because of the condition in which the body was found, the forensic experts who performed the autopsy were unable to give an exact cause of Savannah's death. Her neck was not broken, as Rodart claimed, and they found no traces of illegal substances in her body. The thyroid cartilage in Savannah's throat was broken, indicating strangulation, and about 75% of her body was damaged by fire. Although Rodart confessed to what he had done under interrogation, he pleaded not guilty at trial and said he had acted in self-defense. He was now claiming that Savannah was the first to start strangling him. In doing so, he put the victim's family through another ordeal, namely having to attend numerous court hearings. Savannah's mother, Sherry Gold, said, "My cancer has come back twice, but no chemotherapy, no surgery, nothing will keep us from these hearings. We've been to 26 hearings out of 27. We had to be in the same room with the man who took our daughter's life. We need this to end as soon as possible. We are seeking justice for our daughter." Lee Rodart was not the only member of his family charged with murder. His own sister went to jail even earlier than Lee himself. Amber Camarillo, 26, whose maiden name was Rodart, shot and killed a woman during an argument over a car in 2016, which was a year before her brother Lee took the life of Savannah Gold. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Lee Rodart was offered a plea deal. The condition was that he plead guilty to second-degree murder. In exchange, he was promised 40 years in prison and that the charges of tampering with physical evidence and abuse of the body would be dropped. After consulting with his attorneys, Rodart agreed to the deal. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 40 years in prison on March 11, 2021. After the verdict, Savannah's family thanked everyone for their support. Daniel Gold said, "We love Savannah, and we never realized how many of you did also.